Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Thank you for tuning to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we discuss everything there is to know in the world of Major League Baseball. As always, I'm your host, DJ LeMahieu.
And I'm Ben.
The other host.
That's right.
Yes. All right. We got an action-packed show for you guys today. Everything National League. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Cubs becoming the first Major League team this season to 80 wins. We're going to be discussing the National League West race. Yes, it has become a completely different race than it was practically a month ago. And we're going to discuss how and why. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is the National League batting title race. This is actually kind of exciting. It's a race that practically no one is talking about.
Yeah, pretty close there.
It's pretty close.
Guys.
Yes, it's so close. So close. But anyway, we're going to get started to the Chicago Cubs. They became the first team to win 80 games earlier this week on Tuesday. And behind, of course, none other than Jake Arrieta that got them that 80th win, throwing 8 scoreless innings against the Padres on Tuesday. Yes.
Yeah, honestly, the Cubs now sitting at 81-45, by far the best record in baseball. I mean, honestly, I don't see anyone beating the Cubs, period.
No.
As it comes to NL, AL, whatever. The Cubs have that great balance of hitting and pitching. You talked about Jake Arrieta, the year he had last year, but really it's not just Arrieta anymore. You throw in John Lester, Kyle Hendricks leads the majors in ERA at 2.19. They're really just a solid squad as far as hitting goes. Addison Russell, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, all these guys just capable of hitting it out of the park every time they step to the plate. I really don't see anyone beating them, period.
No, I do not either. And, they got 2 guys that are pretty much in a battle for the Major League, not Major League, the National League MVP award. Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. Both these guys have just been flat-out studs this year. And like Ben talked about the pitching rotation, Kyle Hendricks has been pretty much really impressive, leading the league in ERA. Honestly, if it wasn't for Clayton Kershaw, he wouldn't have been leading the majors in ERA. But I think that kind of helped Kyle Hendricks in a way, leading that category. But we can't disregard what he has done either. He's just been flat out dominant. I think having Arrieta, John Lester, and all these guys in rotation, I think it kind of motivates you to become better in a way, because you're pitching with the best. One of the former Cy Young winner last year, who might be on his way to a second straight Cy Young award. Yeah, man, it's just, I never would expect this kind of year from Kyle Hendricks. He's not a top rotation guy by any means. Even though he has an impressive ERA, he's just having a really good year for a team that can practically win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, just think about their rotation. John Lackey technically is their worst starting pitcher with an ERA of 3.4.
That is pretty amazing.
That's
3.4.
Still solid.
That's pretty good.
That's still really solid.
And that's what you need for the middle rotation guy. That's what the kind of ERA usually is.
And you talked about how Hendricks maybe gets some sort of added momentum, some added giddy-up, some more sort of wanting to go out there and prove himself when he's going up against people in that rotation like Lackey, like John Lester, like Jake Arrieta. Jason Hamill's having a pretty solid year, ERA of just above 3. So they're all kind of maybe feeding into that, and really, I think more so than anything, it's sort of the mentality in Chicago. Think about how Joe Madden kind of changed the Rays, and now he comes in with the Cubs. Same thing, kind of changing that sort of mentality, making baseball fun again. He's always having fun with them. They always do interesting things on the road. They'll wear like onesies sometimes. You know, just making it fun again, having them enjoy playing baseball. I think that's more so when I look at the Cubs. Obviously, they have great players as well that are playing well, so you can't disregard that. But I think a lot of it is Joe Madden and his mentality of how he kind of changed them and made them have fun again, that really they go out and they want to play for Joe Madden. They want to play for the Cubs. They want to play baseball. I think a lot of that has to do with it.
Yeah, and, you know, Jake Arrieta got the Cubs to that 80th win. Kyle Hendricks was the guy that got him to that 81st win. You know, they're 81-45 as of Wednesday, and that is the first time the Cubs have been 36 or more games over 500 since finishing the season 98-56 in 1945. 1945.
Yeah, honestly, I see the only thing stopping the Cubs is like the dreaded over 100-year World Series curse, or like the Steve Bartman curse. You know, that's the only thing I seriously see stopping the Cubs. Because in the American League, I really don't see any team winning the World Series in the American League. I think it comes out of the National League this year. I'd say the best chance is the Rangers, but I still think the National League is by far the better league, and the Cubs are the best team in the National League, so it only makes sense that I think they're going to win it all.
Yeah, and the National League, they have 81 wins. That is most. No one's even close to that. I think the nearest team has 74. The second best team has 74 wins. That is quite impressive. Remember, this team kind of struggled a little bit in June. You know, I think they went on a run when they were under 500, but they haven't gone anywhere.
In particular, Arrieta, too. He struggled. He lost 3 or 4 starts in a row, but he sort of turned it around. I think the All-Star break came at the perfect time for them because that's when the Cubs started playing bad. And then they had that break, and then they just like almost flipped a switch and came back to that team that they were before the All-Star break and before that, you know, last week or two before, that they really became that solid team again, and now they're just not looking back.
Yeah, and this team, you know who else has been playing really good for the Cubs is Addison Russell, actually. He's been really good. I think he hit like 5 home runs in 5 straight games at one point. And remember, he kind of was, I guess, remember, he got voted into the All-Star game by fans, but I think he's kind of showing why he was an All-Star. And remember, Addison Russell was in that category of young shortstops in the league, you know, with Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, and Cleveland. He's honestly entered that he's entered that discussion on the best shortstops now because, you know, the batting average is in there. But remember, he's only like, 22, 23, so he has time to grow. So I'm just this team is good now. This team is going to be good for like probably for the next decade, honestly.
Yeah,
they have so many.
They
have so many young guys like Chris Bryant. He's young. He's playing like a veteran.
Even Anthony Rizzo. He's still. I'd say maybe entering his prime. You haven't really seen a majority of his prime years. So I mean, the Cubs are not just 1 or 2 years down the road. They're not just a win now team. They're a team that can win for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, like I said, the whole decade. They can be possibly a team of the 2010s in baseball. And remember, they got guys like Carl Schwarber who got hurt earlier this year due to an ACL injury. Even their young catcher Wilson Contreras. And man, this is a team that's going to be really dangerous. I honestly think I would love them to kind of build their pitching rotation in the farm system. And remember, this team had one of the best farm systems for the past couple of years.
Yeah, and definitely, I think the one thing, not so much now because they have made some trades. Think about the Aroldis Chapman trade. So their farm system is not still there as it stands. A lot of these guys getting called up, like Chris Bryant, Addison Russell as well. So still a solid farm system. But, I mean, they're obviously taking that gamble on some of these young guys proving themselves in the majors and maybe gambling on some of these young guys that they have, shipping them other teams and getting solid people like Chapman to sort of build for this season. Yeah,
and we'll see if this team could win the World Series. And remember last year, everyone thought, they were like a year away. They ended up they thought this was the year that this was going to be their time to go into the playoffs. But honestly, they're a year early, and we're talking about them being World Series winner. And I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, to me, they're the best team in baseball. They have been since before the season, and they haven't gone away.
I agree.
Yeah, so we're going to take our first break, and we're going to be talking about another National League team that has kind of had a resurgence lately for the past past month, and they taking the Division League. Yes, we'll talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers leading the National League West when we come back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We are shifting over to the National League West. Huge series currently going on between the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. The third game of the series will be tonight, and the Dodgers have already won the first two games, really taken over the NL West. Now they have a 3-game lead over the Giants. Giants went into the All-Star break with the best record in baseball, but now they've really fallen from the ranks there, losing their division lead. And the Dodgers, a team that Jeremiah and I both said that we thought would really, really struggle without Clayton Kershaw, who's on the DL still with that back injury, been there for a couple months now. But really, without him, they haven't really missed a beat. They have gotten a lot of help with the Giants struggling, but the Dodgers still playing really, really well.
Yeah, and remember the Dodgers were 8 games behind the San Francisco Giants a couple months ago. Now they're ahead by 3 games with Kershaw on the DL. And something else to point out is that they put 27 players on the DL this season. That is the most ever by a team. That is the most ever, because they just put Scott Kazmir on the DL. And then Brett Anderson also went on the DL. I think, and then Anderson, that's like, honestly, the second time he's been on the disabled list, along with Heejin Ryu, Brandon McCarthy, Scott Vincelike, and Josh Ravin. They've been slated with so many injuries, but yet they just find ways to win.
Really, I guess you can say that the Dodgers have the mindset of really next man up.
Yeah.
Think about Rich Hill last night. He pitched 6 shutout innings. It was his first start in a while.
Yeah, and that was his first start actually for the Dodgers since being acquired by the A's. And he pitched really well. And Johnny Cueto for the San Francisco Giants pitched just as good, but he gave up a run.
Gave up a solo home run to Justin Turner,
who is also having a great year. I think that was his 25th home run.
Yeah, 24 for Turner.
Man, they're just getting so much production from guys you don't even think of. I remember one of my really best friends is a huge Dodger fan. He grew up in Southern California. One of my former roommates. He hated Justin Turner. He hated the fact that he was hitting third in the lineup when Don Mattingly was there. He would always get bugged about it, and I kind of agree with him because, you never think of Justin Turner being like a third hitter in the lineup, typically.
I do. I think Turner's a really solid player. I could see him batting third or cleanup.
Well, now he is, but like when he wasn't hitting, when he was only hitting like probably like 10, 11 home runs, I don't know. I kind of think you need more than that from your third hitter in the lineup. Now, he's hitting 24 home runs, and he's been one of the best players on the Dodgers lineup. Not only that, Adrian Gonzalez he had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs a couple of days ago in the game. Corey Seager, is having a heck of a year. Probably going to be
Rookie of the Year.
Probably going to be Rookie of the Year in the National League, no doubt.
He's hitting .322.
Yes, and that's third in the National League.
He's hitting .322 as a rookie.
And I wouldn't
crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if he enters the National League batting title race, which we'll get into a little bit later in the show. It is crazy what they're getting from these guys. And don't forget, Jock Peterson, who he had the worst plate discipline last year, improved so much this year. Jock Peterson, who was one of their top prospects a couple years ago, who was talked about being traded for David Price in the trade deadline, he's really improved too as a hitter. And I'm not, honestly, even though Kershaw has been out, I'm not surprised by this. We knew the lineup for the Los Angeles Dodgers had potential. Now they're finally showing it now.
Yeah, the Dodgers are playing quite well, but honestly, when I look at the NL West, I really say it's more on the Giants than it is on the Dodgers. The Giants, like I mentioned earlier, the best record in baseball at the All-Star break, but now they just can't hit anymore. I mean, think about this.
They can't score.
They cannot hit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Think about this. Brandon Belt leads them in home runs at 14.
Yeah.
Multiple guys, look at the Cubs. They have multiple guys above 20. A couple of guys approaching 30. I mean, Brandon Belt leads them at 14.
Yeah, they never been that home run team anyway. But come on, man! At this point in the season,
they can't drive in runs.
They can't hit extra base hits. You're not going to win when you hit a bunch of singles in a game.
Yeah, they just can't drive in runs. They don't have one player hitting over 300.
Yeah,
Angel Pagan is the closest guy at 298. They don't have one guy hitting over 300. Brandon Crawford leads them in RBIs at only 74. And the next highest is Belt at 62. So they're just not driving in runs. And I think, obviously, the Giants are not built to be a hitting team. They're built to be a pitching team. But look at that. They gave up one run last night, Cueto. But yet, you think one run, you're going to guaranteed to win a game. But yet, they can't even bring in a single run. The Giants really, I think, as great as their pitching is, they just have that much less of a hitting that they just can't get any sort of balance and win games. It's like when they pitch good, they don't score runs. And when they pitch bad, they score runs. So it's like they're still losing those games because they're losing games like 9-6, but yet they're pitching great and they're losing games 1-0. So they just can't seem to finally find a way to win.
Yeah, they can't put it all together. You figured with Johnny Cueto pitching lights out, you think, the Giants won the game. That wasn't the case. That's against. Notice, Rich Hill has been really good this year for the A's, and he's a valuable addition to the Dodgers rotation, as we saw last night. But, when talking about the Giants here, they got Jeff Samardzija, who's been he started off the season really great, but he's been really inconsistent. And, Madison Bumgarner, who is probably one of the best pitchers ever in the World Series, we don't even know if he's going to even get there. This team,
he's struggled since the All-Star break.
And he struggled in the first game against the Dodgers on Tuesday. And I think they got Matt Moore for the finale. And pretty much, I think, honestly, the finale against the Dodgers is a very important game for the Giants. Because if they lose, they're 4 behind. But if they win, they'll be 2.
I really think the Giants are dead no matter what.
Do you think they're?
I don't think they have any chance come playoff time if they're in or not. I think the Giants will still find a way to get into the playoffs, but I think they're dead. I think they have no chance. I don't think they have enough hitting.
So you think the even year conspiracy theory is kind of coming to an end?
I guess so. I mean, if you would have said the season ended at the halfway mark, you'd say, well, the Giants look like the most popular trend right now to go all the way. Playing the best baseball, the Cubs are really struggling, but now they just fallen out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they didn't really do a lot to help their bullpen in San Francisco. They brought over Will Smith, but Santiago Casilla has been really inconsistent as a closer. He gave up 3 runs, I think, last week to the Baltimore Orioles, and they lost that game. And they brought over Matt Moore to be practically the number 4 starter. They put him at number 3 behind Cueto and Bumgarner. But Matt Moore, he's been okay, But Matt Moore's inconsistency kind of terrifies me a little bit.
Yeah, he's been up and down.
Been up and down, and I wasn't really a fan of the Matt Moore trade. They could have easily got someone like Jeremy Hillickson, who's been really good. Who else? They could have got, honestly, a better guy for Matt Duffy, who's was a huge part of the team last year and the year before that. But yeah, I do think the Giants will get. I feel like they will find a way, but the way that the Cubs are playing right now, I don't think the Giants have a shot of. I don't think they're going to win the World Series. I get that they have they have pitching, but you need consistent hitting, and they're just not. They just can't hit extra base hits. You can't win just hitting singles in a game.
Yeah, no way at all.
Yeah,
I think they're done.
Oh wow, Ben thinks they're done completely. Me, I don't think they're done completely, but I just don't see them going all the way. Yeah, I hate to tell you guys in San Francisco, but I think this is the Cubs' year. I'm just saying. But anyway, we're going to take our last break, and we're going to be discussing the National League batting title race. Yes, it's actually it's practically the race that no one's talking about, and I think it's actually exciting. And we're going to talk about who we think might win. So do not go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
All right, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And for our final segment of the day, we're going to be talking about the National League batting title race. It's actually getting pretty excited, Ben. Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely between Murphy and Mathieu from Colorado. I think those two are definitely the favorites. Daniel Murphy at 347 and then Mathieu at 344. It's going to be coming down to the wire here.
Yeah, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if Corey Seager entered the race the way that he's been hitting right now. At 322, he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year, and out there in LA. But yeah, I honestly, the year that Daniel Murphy's having has just been phenomenal for the Washington Nationals. Honestly, though, he can be a candidate for MVP. I don't think he's going to win it, but he can definitely be a contender for that award.
Well, he definitely has the stats to back it up. He's got 24 home runs, 95 RBIs. He doesn't really steal much bases, only at 3, but the hitting is definitely a great thing. 347, he had another 3 hits last night. He's definitely having, in my opinion, his best season. Yeah,
and DJ LeMahieu here out in Colorado, he's been practically their most consistent hitter out there for the Rockies. And
they have some great ones in Nolan Arenado and others.
Yes, and they got Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon out there, and they always had a great offense. It's just that the pitching's been the problem. But man, DJ LeMahieu, I actually had him as a contender to win the batting title this year. But he didn't start off the year I thought he would. He did start very slow, but he didn't start to turn it up till late in the summer, or should I say early June. But yeah, it is definitely a very fun race to watch, and it's been. I think they were tied, literally, by the same average, a couple of days ago, and I think. I can't forget if he was either Daniel Murphy or DJ LeMahieu, but literally one of them is leading by 5/10 of a point decimal. Yeah. And I was like, wow, it's really that close.
Yeah, I really don't see Seager maybe jumping up. He's having a great year, but I would think one of these top two guys would have to both of them would have to fall down in order for Seager to get there. I don't see Seager hitting higher than 322 over a consistent basis for the last month and a half here. So I think it comes down to Murphy and LeMahieu. So I don't know. I would sort of go with Murphy. He's sort of been more consistent this year. But over a career, I think maybe DJ LeMahieu maybe edges him. You know, he's hitting .296 over his whole entire career. It's pretty good.
Yeah, this is pretty good. And I have Daniel Murphy probably winning the batting title. But don't get me wrong, DJ LeMahieu, he's been really good hitter for the Colorado Rockies. Probably in the lineup is probably going to be good for a while. They just need some pitching to be a really good contender because they got the guys. You know, Nolan Arenado can be an MVP in this league. He has the stats to be MVP this year, but his team's not winning. So I got Daniel Murphy probably winning this race. It's going to be very close, though.
It's going to be close. These two, right now they're only separated by 3 percentage points. It's going to be super close.
But we can agree that Jose Altuve is going to win the American League batting title.
There's no way.
There's
I
no
mean,
way.
he's got 40 percentage points higher than the next highest, who I think is Ortiz now.
I think if he goes like 0-500, I think he will probably still win it.
Well,
that's
a great hitter like that, that's not going to happen. So.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. But anyways, that concludes our show, Ben. That was good.
That was a great show.
Great show. All right. Well, we'll be back with 2 more episodes next week. Are we going to change the schedule next week for this show?
Yes, we'll be here on Wednesday.
Yes, so we'll be here Wednesday. So we're going to have it Wednesday and Thursday or just Wednesday?
Wednesday shows. 2 Wednesday shows.
All right. Yeah, you guys heard it from Ben. We're going to have our show a day earlier. Yes, we're going to have in the middle of the week to get you guys through the hump starting next week. But we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at GSMC_baseball and as well as on Instagram at the same handle. That is at GSMC_baseball. You can also like us on Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And the show is available on a variety of platforms. There's no excuse you guys can't listen to us. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, and on our website at gsmcpodcast.com. And the best thing of all, as Ben likes to say, it is free 99, guys.
Free 99.
Free 99. All right. Well, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. You guys have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget to tune in to our show next week, starting Wednesday.